welcome everybody. Today we're going to get introduced to why you should go to college. But before we start that, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Aya. I am a current not high school junior. I am a college junior. I am enrolled in the University's Rochester's dual degree program with the Eastman School of Music. So I am a political science major and a dual degree student at guitar performance at the Eastman School of Music, and I'm also on the pre-law track, which if you don't know what that means is just a fancy way of saying I want to go to law school. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I would have to say one of my favorite things about going to college is meeting successful faculty in my field. It's really inspiring. And my favorite social thing about college is my sorority. Um, and I love the weekend. And if you ever feel compelled to meet with me, there's my Calendly link. If you ever want to speak a little bit more about any of the topics of the workshop or just need general college advice, I am here to help you. Okay, so let's get started. Like I said, we're going to be talking about why college, and the overarching question that we're going to be answering is what are goals that motivate me and how does that connect to college? So quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. We just did the welcome and the icebreaker. After that, we're going to be getting into what's exciting about college. Then we're going to talk about concerns about college, like college applications being hard, balancing new priorities, going to a new environment, and I know a really big one is college being expensive. So we're going to talk a little bit about all the concerns, and then we're going to spend some time talking about what are your personal motivations to go to college. And then we'll have time for questions in the end. But if you have any questions as we go, feel free to stop me. Additionally, every workshop there is a raffle for $10. So if you are here, you have a chance to win $10, and that you get up to 3 chances. Your first way is by chatting in a response, or a question. Your second way is unmuting and responding to or asking a question. And then the third way to get another entry is just by keeping your camera on. None of these are mandatory, but it is a good way to win $10, and you could use your $10 gift card in a bunch of different places. So if that interests you, feel free to do any of these things. And then we also have a grand prize raffle throughout the course of our workshops. So for each workshop you attend, you get 1 point towards our annual grand prize raffle. And there's going to be 3 winners of that. One person will win $25, another will win $50, and one lucky winner will win a whole entire $100. So come to the workshops for free college advice, but also for a chance to win $100. Okay, now let's get right into college excitement and common concerns. So in this section, we're going to be talking about some of the reasons why people choose to go to college and the concerns that come with that. And the goal is basically for you to start contextualizing a little bit more about things you already think about. And we're going to start thinking about what constitutes a good college environment for you, since there's a bunch of different options. And you're going to have to make a decision at some point. And if you start thinking now, that'll make that big decision a lot earlier. So starting us off, we're going to have a Padlet. And what a Padlet is basically like a discussion board. Adeline, the moderator, has been putting links in the chat. So thank you, Adeline. But you guys are able to just click onto the Padlet and answer these 2 questions. So the first question is, what are some reasons why people decide to go to college? And question 2 is, what are some things that intimidate people about college? And there's no right or wrong answer here. Just want to gauge where you guys are at. So you're going to click onto the Padlet link, and once you're there, you click plus, and then you type in your answer for each one of these. So let's say, what are some of the reasons why people decide to go to college to get educated? And then you click publish, and then you've answered your first Padlet question. So yeah, let me know if you have any difficulties with that. Okay, so we'll see some of the answers people have already been putting. I put to get educated. Adeline says earning more potential job opportunities. Sarah said to earn a degree for a good job after high school and then to be more independent. These are all great reasons. I definitely resonate with earning more job opportunities. I think that college expands the job market for you and opens up so many jobs that you wouldn't have been able to get with just like a high school diploma. So totally resonate with that. I'm seeing a lot about tuition being scary. I completely agree. When you search up tuition prices, it could look really intimidating, but later on I'll get into why it's not as scary as it looks, I promise. Okay, thank you for your answers, guys. So I will be going into our first concern, which wasn't spoken about, but that's okay. It is still scary to some. So concern number 1, college applications are a lot of work. A common concern for many students is that college applications are a bunch of work and you might not know how to navigate that. So in this section, we're going to be talking about the fact that yes, applications are a lot of work, but there are ways to make the process a bit less stressful. So we're going to do a quick poll. And feel free to just type it in the chat as well, or private message me if you want. Oh, the poll's up. Yes, so which one of the following things intimidates you about the college application? Is it creating a school list, a personal statement, filling out the application itself, the associated testing like the SAT and ACT, FAFSA, completing scholarship applications, you're not sure, or none of the above? I think when I was applying, I was nervous about filling out the application itself just because I had no clue how you do it. And I'm a first gen, so neither one of my parents went to college, so I wasn't too sure on how to navigate it, but I will go a little deeper into that later on. I'm seeing that people responded with SAT/ACT, FAFSA, and completing scholarship. So, some important things to know. Yes, college applications are going to be a lot of work. It's not in your head, and it's completely normal to feel intimidated by certain parts of the process. And for some, there are parts that might be easier. If you're looking to go to like a community college, you might not have to be worried about getting a personal statement, but you might still have to worry about getting your financial aid application done. And so there is still a lot that comes with it. However, it's important to note that everybody will have their own hard part. Some things will be easier for you, and others will be harder. But you do have amazing support systems surrounding you that will help make it a bit easier. So first, you have your guidance counselors and teachers. I think actually every single one of your teachers, if they are a full-time teacher, has had to have a bachelor's degree. So they went through the same exact process, even though it might be a little different from when you're applying now. All of your teachers at this point should have had their bachelor's and some might even have their master's degrees. So it is something that they already went through, and guidance counselors, specifically college counselors, are there to help you throughout this whole process. So that's probably your biggest point of contact. Second, you have your family and friends. And even if you might be saying, oh, but my friends are also applying to college at the same time, and you might not have any family members that have gone to college, and that could be the case for some. And just remember that support comes in different forms. And so while they might not be able to support you directly with the college application process, they can still help you emotionally and help guide you through your decisions and just be there as a good outlet for you. And finally, you have your Let's Get Ready coach that is here to help you. If you have any questions, you're always free to reach out to your coaches. We're all college students and we've gone through it, so we know exactly how to help you. And I want to reiterate that things will be much less stressful if you take it one step at a time, starting now through December. You don't want to be that person that is cramming their personal statement and submitting it the night before. You want to start thinking about it now so that when you get to the time of submitting your applications, you feel like you paced yourself and you're not overly stressed. So let's talk about what self-reflection might feel like. And gonna give you guys a little bit of a tip here. A lot of the work is basically just getting to know yourself. So it could feel like, who am I? What are my goals? Then other days you could feel a bit more confident in yourself, knowing exactly what you want. And then the very next day, you're back to questioning, what is my life? What do you like? What are your priorities? But overall, this whole thing is it's a journey, it's an adventure, and it can be scary at times, but it's fun. You're getting to decide where you choose to spend the next few years of your life to develop professionally and as a student. So make sure you're having fun with it. I know I was definitely pretty worried about the whole application process, but as I did it, I realized I was actually having a lot of fun researching these different colleges and envisioning myself in them. But yeah, the more self-reflection you do, the better chance you'll end up at a college that is a good fit for you, that'll make you happy. And you will have guidance throughout this whole entire process, so do not be scared. On to concern number 2. Balancing priorities might be a little hard. I know I was definitely scared of the college workload. Growing up, I think I heard a lot about how college is super difficult and I wouldn't know how to navigate it, but it is all right. There are ways to get a bit more extra support. So let's talk about them.
Yeah.
It's only my 3rd day out here. I don't know.
Yo.
As that clip suggests, you might be a little scared going into college in your first few days. You might not know what to do. It might be a whole new environment that is scary for you. And it is scary, but the good news is that you've did it before. You've gone into a new environment. When you went from middle school into high school, that was a new environment. And I'm gonna take my chances and say that you've adjusted pretty well at this point. So it's really similar. College, of course, is very different from high school because you're faced with a new environment and new expectations, but it's not completely new. You still know yourself and you still have understood what it takes for you to adjust from middle school to high school. Apply that same exact thing when it comes to getting into college. So, of course, college will involve a bunch of changes that you've never encountered. It's a big transition, but it is completely normal to get all those nerves that come with that. And I was definitely really scared, as most college freshmen do get scared, but once I started getting the ball moving, going to my classes, talking to people, it felt like I was meant to be there. So, yeah. So here are just some strategies on adjusting to college life. So college is a big adjustment and balancing everything does feel different. Classes are definitely more self-driven, so you're going to have to make a bit more choices, more individual choices on how you use your time. But over time, you start building natural, healthy habits. If you're consistently going to your classes, studying, going to office hours, it makes it a bit easier. So here are the 4 tips we have. 1, give yourself time to adapt to a new world. It could be scary, but I have full confidence that you'll kill it and it'll be great. 2, create a support network on and off campus. I'm going to give you guys examples of what a support network could look like. 3, use your campus resources. This goes hand in hand with the last question. And 4, decide on what your priorities are in college. So, creating your support system. Once you're in college, who do you guys think you might be able to go to for advice about balancing academics with fun and other responsibilities? So feel free to chat in, unmute, but take some time to think about the question. And once you feel like you have a good answer, feel free to chat in. So I'm seeing my cousin. She was an alumni at the college I ended up at, so I relied on her a lot. Someone else said my advisors. I think someone I relied on I also relied on my advisors to help connect me with other resources, but also give me their own personal insights. Also say a good one is upperclassmen, especially in your major. If you get to know people in your major, they're able to give you more direct academic support from the perspective of another student. Obviously, advisors are paid to be there for you and are super helpful resources, but sometimes it's nicer to hear it from a student your age. So I'll go into some more people who you might be able to speak to. We have upperclassmen, professors, academic advisors, your school's counseling center, staff at identity-based centers on campus, and your Let's Get Ready coaches and tip sheets. So I want to go through a little through each one of these a bit. I already spoke about upperclassmen, but let me speak a little on professors, academic advisors, and staff at identity-based centers on campus. The common denominator between all these places and all these people are that they're there to support you. Professors will have office hours where you're able to speak to them privately. Your academic advisors have meeting times for you to speak to them, and the staff at identity-based centers on campus are trained to understand how to support you best, even when thinking about your identity. So I utilize my college's first gen office a lot, as well as the Office of Minority Student Affairs, and they offer services like free printing, academic advising, and textbook assistant. So they'll buy textbooks for you if you need it. So super important to utilize those school funded people, as well as the school counseling center. While they might not be able to help you too much with your academics, they could still help make sure that you are feeling good to tackle your academics mentally, make sure that your mental health is good. And then also your Let's Get Ready coaches and tip sheets. I am a college student and I still get texts from my Let's Get Ready coach, and it's pretty helpful to get a reminder on class registration and all that good stuff that comes along with college. So feel free to take note of any of these, but they're all here to help you. And here are some more valuable resources on campus that colleges fund. So you got workout facilities, tutoring centers, academic advisors, student health services, and mental health services. So colleges invest a lot into making sure that you are doing okay mentally and physically. Obviously, if you're struggling a lot, keeping up with all your classes and getting your organizational skills down and studying, that pours into your academics. So if you utilize these, it should be super helpful for making sure you're overall in a good mindset. So deciding on your priorities in college. So you might be like, why do I need to know what my priorities are? Surely I'm gonna know exactly what I have to focus on, and that's school. And it's true, you do have to focus on school, but there are a bunch of other things that is good to focus on during your time in college. So academics will be a priority and they should be a priority, but they probably won't be your only priority and maybe not even your number one priority. So here are some other things people care about. One, gaining professional experience to improve their resume. So this could look like getting a job on campus, getting an internship with an organization, um, or doing research even. Anything to be able to put on your resume to speak about in future job applications. Additionally, we have building relationships with potential mentors. Right now, I'm getting mentored by the Dean of Student Life at my college campus, and he's been giving me super helpful tips and tricks to developing myself professionally as much as possible, which I really appreciate. Thirdly, we have creating community and lifelong relationships. So meeting people that are going to be important to you through and beyond college is definitely one of the biggest highlights from college. Obviously, it's so much, but you get to meet really good friends while you're there. And a lot of people say that they met some of their best friends at college. And then finally, having new experiences and expanding your horizons. So while academics are important, there are a bunch of other stuff that that is also equally as important. So feel free to chat in if you resonate with any of these, or if you want to if any of these seems like a goal for you. Sarah says gaining some experience. A lot of entry jobs require job experience, so that would be helpful. This is true. Once you get out of college, your employers also want to see what you did while you were in college and if you were utilizing those resources. Thank you. Let's move on to our next concern. So, concern number 3, being in a new environment. Like I said before, college is a pretty big transition socially and emotionally. And that can a bit scary. Also, if you're looking at this and you're like, maybe I want to stay close to home so it won't be too much of a new environment, just know that even no matter where you go, it still will be a different environment just because colleges are much different, high schools. And if you are somebody that wants to go away for college, it also is a bit different. So yeah, just keeping in mind that college could be a new environment for everybody, and there's not necessarily one right or wrong way for college to be a new environment. Okay, so let's talk about how college environments can, how we can choose a college that is right for our needs. And so, what is a correct college for one person might not be a good for another. And how you decide that is by considering things. Does the college align with your goals, your values, your identities, your personality, your personal preferences, your life experience, and physical and mental health? So, all that reflecting that I was talking about earlier, all you're reflecting on basically is figuring out what all of these things mean to you and seeing how they relate in a college context. So how are you able to find the best college that caters to your preferences for each and every one of these goals? So I don't think we have enough people to get into breakout groups, but I want to ask you guys, what about your high school communities did you like and want to be similar in college? And then what's something that you want to be different in college? So I'll give about 6 minutes for you to think about what it is that you liked in high school, answer the questions. After that, you guys are able to share. So yeah. So our next topic is mission-driven schools. So we're just gonna briefly cover what a mission-driven school is. So there are different types of, oh, we have another answer. I like how easy it is to find friends in high school because it's small, and I would like to go to a bigger college. Yeah, I went to a pretty small high school. I think I had like 80 people in my graduating class, and now there's like, I go to a school of like 8,000. So I like the bigger school. Thank you for sharing. Okay, mission-driven schools. So these are colleges that were founded to support specific types of schools. And Adeline just put in a link of all the types of schools. But so these schools, like I said, were founded to support specific groups, and those groups include, but are not limited to, historically Black colleges and universities. There's religious colleges, colleges for the deaf and hard of hearing, and there's also historically single-sex universities. And there's also Hispanic serving institutions as well. But these are just some examples of colleges that are mission-driven and founded to specifically cater towards these communities. And these schools have large populations of the specific student groups and aim to center their experience. They're not exclusive towards these groups, but are primarily there to cater to their experience. Most colleges are historically / predominantly white institutions. So what that means is the majority of the students there are white, and these colleges were probably founded for like were historically exclusive to only white people, but have since changed. So PWIs can bring culture shock to you if you haven't been in a predominantly white space before. And the schools might feel like they center whiteness. And students with various different identities can feel marginalized on these campuses, but it's important to realize that every college is different. and they each offer a unique experience and student culture. So I am a woman of color and was a bit scared about going into PWI and not having friends that would understand like my culture and stuff. However, as I got here, I realized that there's a bunch of different groups that are there to cater to your experience, and that you can still find community if you do attend a PWI. And so if this is something that matters to you, doesn't have to be, feel free to look at college demographics, which are published out there, and look at real student testimonials to give you an insight as to what it feels like to go to school there. So a good way to do this is just by searching up day in the life as a blank college student, and fill in the college that you would like to see. But just remember, no matter where you choose to go, there will be a support system that you'll end up building. And so I know I spoke a little bit about student groups already, but just want to go a little bit deeper into it and talk about some more spaces. We have international student services, and similar student centers that cater towards identities. So this could be religion, sexuality, disability status, and these centers are ran by the school for the most part. And now we're going to go into the student-run stuff. So you got clubs like recreational sports team, community service clubs like Sarah was talking about. You have political student clubs, student-run clubs, and chess clubs. I think my school has about 400 student organizations, so definitely there are a bunch of clubs to get involved in. And similarly, there's affinity groups ran by students. So you have a rural students association, there's Black students associations, there could be Filipino student associations, alliances for immigrant justices, and first gen student unions. A bunch of different communities for you to involve yourself in. So feel free to look at the list and talk about one organization that interests you. Not mentioned on this list, but does exist, is like pre-professional societies. Like there's pre-med clubs, there's pre-law clubs, there's pre-business clubs, to help with your professional development as well. Seeing affinity group, I would definitely want to be an Asian American one. Yeah, it's really nice to have other people within your identity group. I go to my school's like Arab student association, and sometimes they even make food, which is super nice. Thank you. Okay, now on to concern number 4. I know it's a big concern that people have. College is expensive. So in this section, we're going to be talking about the financial cost of college. And this is just an introduction to it. Later on in July, we have an entire college affordability workshop to help navigate paying for college, what that looks like, what resources are available to you. But today we're just going to briefly cover it to see if to help give you a foundation for understanding paying for college. So I don't know if any of you guys have looked up sticker prices for college before, but this is definitely how I feel looking at big tuition prices.
Today. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Yeah, looking at a school, so this is Syracuse University in upstate New York, we see the total cost of attendance is $85,000, tuition is $61,000, housing and food on average comes out to $18,000, miscellaneous fees are about $2,000, books are another $2,000, transportation is another $1,000. Overall, you're seeing a lot of thousands, tons of thousands. And so this could look pretty scary. However, I do want to reassure that this is probably not the price that you're ever going to end up paying. So how financial aid works is that you have a sticker price, which is this big price that we saw earlier. But your scholarships and grants are accounted into that and subtracted, and that's when you get your net price, and that's what you actually pay. So scholarships can either be merit-based or need-based money that you don't have to give back to the school. So it's basically money that they give you for free. And after you subtract that, that's what you actually pay. and that comes out from direct payment and with loans and stuff. So let's talk about student loans. For a big percentage of students, loans are necessary, but there are ways to minimize your student loans and college costs, and the biggest key to this is building an affordable college list. So applying to colleges that you know are able to provide good financial assistance for you. And in our July workshop, we're going to be discussing more about loans, financial aid, and how to graduate with as little debt as possible. And also want to note that student loan forgiveness has been a part of the national conversation for quite a number of years now. And so it's always important to stay updated on that. So there is a tip sheet on finding the most up-to-date information on the student debt crisis. So if that's something of interest to you, feel free to check that out. So let's talk about what makes a college list affordable. So there's a bunch of different ways to keep college low costing. And the first way to do this is by finding a low sticker price school. So this is schools that don't have that big $85,000 number when you first click onto it. So that can look like community colleges, public and state universities. If you're a New Yorker, that's your SUNY schools. That's your CUNY schools. If you're if state universities will end in state college or state university, and those tend to be cheaper for in-state residents. There's also low tuition schools and tuition-free schools. They're rare, but they do exist. Then there's schools with good financial aid, so that's schools that meet 100% of your demonstrated need. So what they'll do is that you'll fill out the FAFSA, and after you fill it out, it'll give the college an estimate of how much you can pay, and schools that meet 100% of need fill the difference between what you can pay and your bill. So I would highly recommend looking into a school with need-based financial aid. I get need-based financial aid, and it's super helpful for me. And then we have colleges that meet 100% of demonstrated need for undocumented students. These are all hyperlinked. So feel free to go back into the slides after the workshop is done and look into them. And then finally, we have schools with great academic merit scholarships for high-performing students. So this could be a school with a large endowment, which basically just means they have a lot of money and a large amount of savings. But then there's also schools with full ride scholarship programs. And I know a lot of people seem to get deferred from private schools because they're afraid of the cost, but a lot of the times, because they are privately funded institutions, they tend to have a bit more money, which is what allows them to give full ride scholarships and need-based aids. So if you're someone that is going to require financial aid in college, don't completely rule out private institutions, as they are able to offer good aid on occasion. Okay, so the final section that we're going to go to, now that we've covered top concerns, we're going to be reflecting a bit more on your personal motivations for college. So there's two sorts of ways to categorize motivation. We have intrinsic motivation, which is things that are driving you personally. So this little drawing here says pride, interest, achievement, and curiosity. I also like to say your own personal dreams. And then there's extrinsic motivation, so external factors that are wanting you to apply to college or weighing into your decision of applying to college and where you go. So it could be grades, a fear of punishment, money, and praise. So this could also look like people around you saying that you have to go to college, or feeling that you have to go to college just as a formality. And so these are the two sorts of intrinsic and two sorts of motivation. Both are completely valid, but studies do show that when you listen to the intrinsic side of motivation, you are more likely to feel fulfilled and more likely to achieve your goals. So it's 100% normal to be motivated by both, but just know that it's all about finding a healthy balance between the two. So we're going to be reflecting on our own personal whys. You will not have to share this if you don't want to, but consider what motivates you to college. Which college motivation do you feel related to the most? Is it personal growth and fulfillment, community or service, family, or societal expectations? And it's completely normal if you are looking at this list and you're like, none of these apply. That's fine. But yeah, take a few minutes to think about what is important to you. I'll give you guys 4 minutes. Okay, welcome back. Thanks everybody for sharing. So now that we spoke a little bit more about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, just want to end the section off by giving you guys some important things to remember. So, like I said, it is normal to care about both internal and external motivators. But what's most important to you is what matters the most. And it's completely okay to compromise and do it for others. And what I mean by this is if your parents want you to stay close to home, you might be able to find a compromise on a school that is a good distance for the both of you. And of course it is healthy up to a point. Ultimately, the decision on where you go to college is completely yours, and you should use it as that, take it as that. And your decisions should feel right for you. You're the one at the end of the day that's gonna have to wake up and go to all the lectures and do all your assignments and participate in your classes, and that's what matters most. Yeah, so thank you guys for sharing all your motivations. And that brings us to the end of our workshop. Feel free to share your feedback on today's workshop. We always incorporate past feedback into future workshops. So if you want to hear anything, it's completely anonymous. It's super helpful for us. So thank you. Any questions? If you have no questions, you're free to go. Thank you everybody for attending.